us to talk about. Self-oppressive cockatoos have done a really good job at adapting to live alongside humans, who've obviously changed the world around them, and they've learned to live amongst us. You might see them in our gardens, in our busy city streets, maybe even in the back places. They are wild birds, they need those wild places, and that includes really old trees. For a bird just like this one here, flying Karak. We'll do it today for her. This is Karak, she's a red-tailed black-tailed female. Is ivory, it's flying up behind her. So a cockatoo at this size will need a nesting hollow that takes 150, maybe about 200 years to form. So when you need to protect those old trees, you can imagine it doesn't take very long to cut those trees down. But they do need those nesting hollows for nesting and also for raising their young. This bird is what we call sexually dimorphic, and what that means is that males and females look different from each other. The females, whilst they have mostly black feathers, they've got little yellow speckles throughout those feathers, and they also have stripes across their tails. They've got yellow, orange and red stripes, as Karak's showing you now as she flies up to that stag. They are different from the males. The males, whilst totally black, they don't have any speckles at all, so they're a really solid black colour, and they have a really solid red band across their tail.
As well as meeting some beautiful parrots today, we're also going to have a look at some birds of prey. And that's a really broad category. A bird of prey is any bird that eats other animals. So penguins, pelicans, kookaburras, they are birds of prey. We're going to focus in on a specialised group within that called raptors. Raptors all catch their food with their feet. So they've all got strong feet and sharp talons. And we're going to start off the raptors today with a species that is really small and really fast. So if you've got your camera out, good luck. It's going to be the smallest species of raptor in Australia. This is a local species. So you may have seen them in the area, but maybe not quite as close as this. This is an Australian kestrel. Her name is Rusty. She is fully grown. She only weighs about 130 grams, so less than your phone. Kestrels belong to the falcon family. They've got blade-shaped wings, and that gives them really good turning and cornering abilities to manoeuvre themselves in the open air. They're also able to hover, just like that. Beautiful Rusty. She caught that piece of food. How good was that? Yeah, thank you. So these birds are kind of like the sports cars of the bird world. They move really fast. They eat a lot of fuel. So they do have to eat a lot of insects, but they will also eat little skinks, tiny mice, little birds that they can catch as well. And all of that active hunting takes a lot of energy out of them. So you will often see them resting in between hunting, and they'll take themselves up to a nice high vantage perch, but they can do a hunting strategy called perch and search. And that basically means that they sit somewhere where they've got a good view. They've got really good eyesight, so they can wait until their prey reveals itself, and then they've got quick reflexes so they can dive down on it and grab it when it appears. If they haven't got a perch where they need one, that's where that hovering behaviour comes in really handy, and we saw a glimpse of that hovering behaviour a moment ago. If we're lucky, Rusty might show us another hovering behaviour. Oops, you dropped that piece of food, girl. See if we can set you up for that a little bit better. So I'll see if I can send Rusty to a high-ish perch. Not super high, Rusty, that's okay. So they do need to get pretty high up in the air to do a hover. They face into the wind, and then they're beating their wings, changing the shape of their tail and manoeuvring their body so that their head can stay almost completely stationary. It's a pretty energy-demanding task for them to do. Beautiful, Rusty. Nice one. Good job. Thank you. She caught that one over the water too. They're very, very agile. And if you see a raptor hovering, it is actually a pretty easy way to identify this species. There's only two species around here that hover. The black-shouldered kite is the other one. But you can identify this bird from that reddish coloration in their body. And you often see them around the Yarra Valley over the vineyards and the paddocks. She's done an awesome job out here today. That was Rusty, the Australian kestrel. Nice one. Rusty had a little dip in her pond before she came out here, so her feathers were a little bit wet. I wasn't quite sure how well she would fly today, but she was amazing. Now, if you're interested in the way that we train here, we use positive reinforcement. So we reward the behaviours that we want them to do, and we train animals to participate in their own healthcare. The bird that we're going to meet next was brought in from the wild with an injury, and the goal there is almost always to release them back out into the wild, but occasionally we have an animal that has ongoing health issues and for some reason is not suitable for release back into the wild. And that's the case with this next bird. So we were able to fix his wing, or the vets were, but he needed some extra care. This is a long-billed corella. His name is Kevin. So for a bird that's had a previous wing injury, it's really useful for us to be able to check how his wings are going. We can use our training to ask him to go with his wings. That way I can see that they're nice and even, or leave his feathers look really good. We also train the animals to present different parts of their body. Sometimes birds can have an injury on the bottom of their feet, and that's a tricky area to see. So Kevin can show us each of his feet. Beautiful. If I needed to have a look at the back of him, or to see how he was moving, I could ask him to turn all the way around. And then we often train animals to step onto our hand, and that does a lot of things. It's an easy way to move them from place to place, but we often also use this as a consent signal. So before we do a training session or a presentation, we ask the bird, do you want to train right now? And if they say no and they stay on perch, that's totally okay. That's really good info for us. When they say yes, it's a really nice, clear opt-in. So it's a great behaviour to be able to use. And Kevin's done an awesome job out here today. You can head off home if you like. That was Kevin, the long-billed corella. He did a great job. So far, they have diets that include a range of foods. Fish might be nuts, seeds, flowers, and fruits.
Do you need
As
anything?
you can imagine, those things will drop down to the ground.
Hey.
And so it might be normal for some birds to come down to the ground to forage, and a long-billed corella that you just met is a really good example of that type of bird. There are some, however, that will never